But yeah, that was quite the comp.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Tyler, how are we doing today?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Doing all right. Yeah. So I like that you reached out to me about doing a quick recap. Well, not even a quick recap. A recap on the GOAT comp. Exciting times, and there was lots of talk around the comp from start to finish, actually. And we're going to talk about that today and let everyone out there know what the deal is over here on the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. It was honestly, it was a super fun comp. I had never been to GOAT before. I don't know if you've been there. Yeah.
You weren't at the first comp. You weren't the original Showdown. Yeah, no, I've been to GOAT before. I went to the original Showdown. And that was actually Xavier's first podium, I think.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
He was on the podium for that. I don't know if it was his first, but I'm going to say it was his first because I think it was. It was a great comp. I thought so. I'm going to say it was a great comp. But one of the things about last year versus this year was everyone was with a single session, and I think they had just opened. I didn't even know that they existed, and there was like, oh, you're going to GOAT, and I'm like, yeah, let's go to GOAT. Let's go. and so we went in, and it was super packed. They basically had all the boulders on. Most of the boulders were actually in just the one area, the second floor, where the training area was, and it was super packed. I remember talking with a couple climbers because all the advanced and open climbs were in the same spot, and it was just mayhem. It was mayhem. And the open climbers are trying to qualify, and everyone else is trying to take your time. This year they spread things out. It was a lot more spread out. I did enjoy the space we had. They had 2 sessions. All the open climbers qualified in the beginning, which is, I think the norm now. Like you open in the first session, as you know.
Yeah. We can get into it in the least bitter way possible.
Tyler got bumped from advanced to open. That was an interesting thing. And we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so they spread things out. Open climbers qualified. It was open and intermediate female climbers. And so that was a very casual laid-back session. I think they could have probably included more climbers into that session. But yeah, just from just a space standpoint, it was much better. I felt there was still a lot of climbs for the advanced, all kind of jammed into one place on the first floor.
Yeah.
And so for me, I thought it was, well, I mean, so my scenario, I wasn't like Tyler. I wasn't unfortunate like Tyler was. I actually entered into masters because I'm old, and apparently when it comes to being a master, you can only climb low grade stuff. I don't know. I basically walked through the masters climbs, and I felt it was too easy. So then I bumped myself into advanced. So about an hour of climbing, 10 climbs in, I decided, all right, well, this is let's try it and have some fun. Which is good though, because coming off of an injury and good in Tyler's finger training is becoming through. I'm up
nice.
15 pounds on my fingers, which is awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, we haven't done a check-in on that in a minute. Let's circle back to that.
We'll circle back to that.
Yeah.
But so Tyler and a couple other people actually got bumped from advanced because they're stronger climbers than that. So
yeah.
Tyler?
Yeah. So, well, one is I'm glad to hear that they made improvements from last year. I felt that they actually spaced everything out pretty well this year.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple areas where there were like overlaps between the men's and women's open climbs that created a bit of a line, which there's going to be lines. There's no way around that. But they used all 3 floors for open. At least I know women's intermediate didn't have anything on the 3rd floor, but in general, I felt like everything was pretty well spaced out. Granted, the first session is less crowded. But yeah, it sounds like they made a big improvement there. I really, really liked that everything was like the modified red point, like everything had at least zone, sometimes low zone for the 10 specific climbs. I think in general, that is a better setup like for the future of comp climbing for citizens comps, where people can get, in theory, points on all of their climbs. I think it's like better for people's emotional state, better for dividing up lines on climbs, because when there's climb number 34 that is easy and now everybody in intermediate has to do it too, and it just becomes this mess. Yeah, it creates interesting issues in terms of bumping people into categories if there's assigned climbs to each category.
Right.
But in general, I think that that's a really good format. I thought overall the setting for the day was like really, really top notch.
Yeah.
Like, like, you know, granted, I was on the open boulders that tends to get the most attention. But from what I was watching from the advanced boulders and the intermediate boulders, it really seemed like the setting team was doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Go for it.
I couldn't break anything.
That's good. I mean,
No,
right?
it was great. It was, I mean, it was really well set. I really, I agree. I totally agree. The settings were all over the place. From the one thing, like with the 10 climbs, like that was something I experienced. Like it was method was the first time I've experienced, like you get these 10 climbs and you climb this. And without the intro, the whole different zones and everything. But like I saw a couple climbs, I was like, oh, that'd be really fun. Like that's my style. And which I thought was interesting, like because there definitely was climbs in every type of style across your card, everyone's cards, but it actually forced you to kind of like, hey, you know what, you can't just do all the stuff that's really, you know, in your style and kind of walk through that. But like I basically speed ran Advanced. I had about 2 hours to kind of try to get through. So my goal was to touch every climb, and I low zoned everything. So
nice.
But I was just like, whatever. I just want to try like this, check, and kind of check them out. Because when I got downstairs, I mean, there was I think 4 or 5 of the advanced climbs.
Yeah,
section where everyone was like, I was like, all right, well, let me just try and get on everything. And actually, no, I didn't zone that purple slab one. That actually.
Oh, the like walk across thing. Yeah,
that one.
I think it was awesome.
Yeah.
They unbroke it for the second round because everybody kind of figured out an alternate beta in the first round where they wanted right foot, left foot, but people were figuring out left foot and then like step over to establish and then come back.
Right.
They wanted like that 360 spin around. But you know, that's the risk with open climbers. They're gonna find the breaks. But I'm gonna not get on my soapbox. I'm just gonna say that I posted a YouTube video about my thoughts on the fact that comps need a 5th category. There needs to be something between advanced and open, because if advanced is, you know, V9 plus based on standard categories, then V9 to V17 is a really big grade range. And as much as I think that, you know, it can be unfair for me to be up against some of the advanced climbers as somebody who like projects V10 and V11 outside, I shouldn't be up against Adam Shahar, who climbs V15. It just, you know, like, and has V17 strength and just, you know.
I mean, the sport has evolved. I mean, I think that we need to kind of evolve with that as well. And I think that's, I'm with you on that.
And I think to Goat's credit, like they are at like the forefront of what changes have been going on in the comp scene recently. Like they had that modified red point style with zones. They tried out a different finals format, and we'll get into that because I thought it was super interesting, and I'm glad that they tried it. But nobody's really stepping up to be the first people to create that 5th category. And you know, I don't think I'm the first person to say it. I don't think I'm the first person to have that idea. But what happened to me, what happened to Sonny, is we got a call the night before, like 6 or 7 p.m. the night before, saying instead of being there at noon, we had to be there at 8 a.m. I'm never one to like dog on event organizers. I've run or helped run quite a few comps, and they're stressful. That wasn't enough notice. It's just like just like all of a sudden, all of my plans of the day had to change. You know, I'm supposed to hang out with my niece, whatever. So it happens. Like I'm not mad at them.
More advanced notice would have been.
Yeah, nice. I think 24 hours is fair. Because like if I hadn't been able to make it in the morning session, would I have gotten a refund? Like, what's the, you know, the like at the end of the day, like climbing is a small community. And it is good that we have the ability to sort of like regulate ourselves in that way. I do think that like being bumped based off of your name might not be the fairest thing. You know, I get it. People know me. People have competed against me. But
Yeah.
you know, I think I'm a bigger fan of let people enter where they are, and then as a comp organizer, you have the right to bump them into oblivion and not give them any prizes because they sandbagged.
Right.
Yeah. They also listed advanced as like V5 to V6, and I think their logic was like, did you see on the
No, I
sign up?
didn't.
Like,
No.
Yeah, they said advanced was like V5 to V6, and from what I heard, their logic was like, well, we set really hard, so it's so that our members have an idea. I was like, that's a little bit confusing for people, and I think that's also where people were like, "What are you doing in the V6 category?"
Right.
I don't know. Like, this is what advance is.
Yeah, I know, because like typically advance is 6+, right?
So like, as far as I like, the majority of comps is the recreational or novice or beginner, whatever you want to call it, 0 to 2, intermediate 3 to 5, advanced 6 to 8, open 9+.
Right.
Which is why I was like, we need 9 to 11,
right,
and then 12+.
Right. And so that also, I mean, like from a setting standpoint, that gets to be difficult as well when you only set X amount of boulders in the space. And yeah, I can see where that gets to be interesting for sure.
Well, if you're setting up a 5th category, you take 5 from advanced and 5 from open, and like you mix and match to make sure that styles are represented. But
no, for sure. Like, I mean, like, you know, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. Sure. You know, being a master, you know, like it's funny because like I've never climbed masters before. I didn't know what to expect. When I actually had reached the age for masters, literally all masters categories disappeared from climbing. From all I was like, yo, I finally made it. I made it to the top. So this is my first time, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do masters, mainly because I was doing a live stream, and I wanted to kind of, you know, be able to focus on doing some stuff in between the climbing and also capture some footage. And so I figured I'd, you know, have fun in the masters category, expecting there to be, you know, number one, more entries. I guess there was only one other male master entry.
Oh no.
So, but like, I felt like it was just too easy. You know, I know some way stronger climbers than I am at my age and older. And you know, like I got to kind of sit and think about it though, and I realized that bouldering really isn't a master's
friendly.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, not even friendly, but I find that the older climbers tend to move on to ropes. I don't know why, you know, but you know, maybe
joint impact, like from falling, you know, like
an impact. So I'm like, okay, so that probably makes sense. And there was not a lot of registration, not a lot of focus around the masters. They were, you know, putting it out there just to keep the community as a whole. So I was like, all right, you know, but you know, so now I know, don't do masters, get in advance and.
You know, I'm actually going to draw a parallel here between masters and open, believe it or not. But masters is, what is it, 40+?
40 plus, some places 45+.
40+, 45+.
Yeah.
Anybody who is 40+ is in that category, right? So there's you who belongs in advanced, right? Like you're a like potential podium in advanced, right? Like, and then there's somebody who's 65 and has been bouldering for 2 years and wanted to have fun, right? Like it's really hard to differentiate between like into age and then into category. I think that it is again like on climbers to self-select into the proper category. So now I know the parallel is open is V9+, or you know, like and so how do you categorize for V9 and V16?
I mean that's a very interesting. And I made that mistake, so now I know.
Maybe a potential solution for masters is if we are going to do like modified red point 10 selected climbs for masters, let those climbers self-select which climbs they get on, like not be limited to 10.
You know, I just think masters, looking at in bouldering, I think it's really a recreational. So, you know,
Mm.
like I just saw it up like, oh, there's a masters category, and it
Yeah.
disappeared, and then it came back.
Yeah.
But like, and from a bouldering standpoint, I think masters is just not going to have the turnout. It's just not going
Right.
to be there, which
Yeah.
is, you know, but like, you know, it is what it is. Keep it there, and people have fun. But lesson learned for me:
Sure.
don't try to climb 20 climbs in one day. Don't do masters and then flash every problem but one, and then try to do advanced after
Yeah.
that. That's not
If you had had another hour, that would have been a perfect warm up to take into the 3.
yeah,
But
yeah. So, you know, for me, I haven't been climbing that much because of the injury and just kind of recovering. So I didn't have the skin to do 20 climbs. The spec was there. I just really, I was looking at my fingers yesterday. I was like, wow, like I can, you know, see that I lost a lot of that good skin on the fingers. So it is what it is. It was fun.
yeah. It turns out that only being able to do the first third of every climb leaves your skin really fresh. So I would recommend going into a harder category. You'll have plenty of skin.
Well, the holds were, I mean, that was actually an interesting thing about Goat is, you know, compared to what we know about Valhalla has some new holds, but like Goat, I mean, almost all of their holds were very, very gritty, which is great for friction, but like not
it's
great.
tough on the skin for sure.
Yeah.
Every time I climb at a gym that isn't Valhalla, like I think Valhalla is one of the skin friendliest gyms. I think, like, without saying that our holds are like old and greasy,
but they're not. No, but some are, but they do have. But I think it's the choice of holds.
But yeah, we've got a good training gym because you can go for like skin is rarely the limiting factor there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Should we get into the finals format?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So
you want to try to explain it?
I can explain it. I mean, I've explained it 1,000 times. I explained it live on the live stream. People are like, I don't understand what's going on. Where'd Adam go? But so it was an interesting format. So it's Showdown, right? They really embraced the Wild Wild West Showdown concept. And in a Showdown, you go head to head. You lose a Showdown, they carry your dead body off into the sunset, right? But so essentially, it was 8 finalists, which was you know, very rare thing you see. But because they had 8 finalists, it basically was if you think of it as a bracket format, they actually used the bracket to kind of visualize. And so they were kind of touring around with a couple of different concepts. Mainly, you know, the bracket was 8 qualifiers. First qualifier goes head to head with the 8th place qualifier. Second goes 7th. Third against 6th, 5th, 4th, right? And they're basically showdown head to head on a boulder. The original concept they were talking about, and I think they probably figured it wouldn't work out, was that the first place qualifier or the highest qualifier would actually pick the boulder that they would show down on. But instead, they just kind of assigned 2 different boulders to go head to head at the same time. And your typical format, 4 minutes per climber. There was no what the hell is it called? There was no isolation. Everyone was out but facing the other way, so they couldn't actually see the climbs, but they can hear the hype, which I always think is really interesting as well. Having people kind of be out there, hearing what's going on behind you, kind of like, did that work or whatever.
Yeah, they can all hear the crowd from ISO as well.
Yeah, you know, but you can hear the crowd as well as some thumps on the wall.
Versus so like how high up they're looking. You know
exactly what's going on, right? There's a lot of tell in the crowd and being right there that I found to be kind of interesting. But so head to head, 4 minutes per climber. So they had 2 climbers from basically 2 showdowns at the same time, one on one climb, one on another climb. And then the lowest scoring qualifier in each of the climbs would go first. And they had the low zone, and top setup. And then essentially you had your 4 minutes to get as far as you can in as little attempts as possible. Your typical finals format, right? But then after that person's done, the higher place qualifier would then go and then do the same as that climb, same as that concept. And whoever got the furthest, the fastest, we'll say, automatically moved on to the next round. Now it's like, oh, okay, that's like your typical thing. But the person who didn't, done, you're cut, right? You're cut off.
Yeah.
And you know, from a female standpoint, the podium ended up looking typical, right? You had JoJo at the top, Sienna right behind her, and then you had Nora right
Yeah.
there as well. And I think Nora didn't qualify third, but she might have qualified somewhere fourth or fifth, right?
Sure.
So that's typically what she does. Like Nora, I don't know, she like qualifies and does whatever, and then like she saves it for the end, and then she gets on podium.
Yeah.
Male qualifiers, story.
Big upsets.
Big upset right out the gate.
Yeah.
So it was Adam Shahar versus, I forgot what his name was, and I've seen him before. He's been coming out. He came out of nowhere actually for the CRG comp, and he didn't make the podium, but I think it was Josh. I'm going to say I forget his name, but
Curly hair, glasses.
yes,
Yeah, I think it's Josh.
yeah, I think it's Josh.
Yeah, we'll fact check it.
Yeah, we'll fact check it, but I mean, you guys just watch the video, you know who it is.
Yeah.
But so essentially, neither of them made zone. No, they both made low zone, right? So it was number 1 against number 8, first qualifier against a qualifier, Adam Shahar. And Josh, we're going to use that for now. He got low zone. I think it was his first try. Like he just got on. Low zone was a real easy get, just like literally kind of get over it and fall. Adam fell off the start, I think 3 times in a row. And then he got low zone, not a big deal. And he just couldn't, and neither of them could get that zone. Like no one, I don't think anyone got that zone. It was awful. I think that was voted the worst climb. Like no one liked that climb at all. But yeah, Adam didn't get zone. If he got zone, he would have moved on. If he got low zone first try, the rule was the highest. If they both got
tie goes to the higher seed.
Tie goes to the higher seed. But yeah, and then it was interesting. Like you can see it in Adam's demeanor as he was progressing. He started to panic, and I'm going to say I felt like
yeah.
And you can see him rushing. I think like after that third time he kind of popped off the start, he just started to kind of doubt himself, knowing that he got outdrawn to that low zone probably in his mind. I got outdrawn, so I need to get zone, and he tried so many different things to try to get that zone hold, and nothing was really working. And I truthfully don't even know what it was. My thought was that it was a pop-up stand up and then hit the zone hold. So like stand up on the hold that they're trying to pull to. And I'll throw a video up there so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was interesting. And then like it was weird because I knew it would happen, and you can see that Adam knew what happened, but like most of the crowd didn't understand the format, and especially on this game, people are like, where did Adam go? Like, where is it? And then Dimitri actually chimed in, was like, Adam didn't make the showdown. And then that completely changed the podium. Like, like I said, Josh, I'm going to say, we're using that for now. He's a strong climber, but I haven't seen him on the podium yet. Or even near the podium yet. And then like that format enabled someone who hasn't, from the typical format. And he put on a great show though. Like I have to say, he climbed his ass off the entire time. He put on a great show. He's a super strong climber, puts his heart into it. And it was really cool to see that, like someone who shouldn't have been on the podium. I'm going to use quotes with that. Now he's on the podium. But like, if you watch him climb, props to him, and we're going to see him on the podium, I'm sure, a lot more in the future.
If we're thinking of the same guy, then I totally agree. He's got a super, super bright future coming up. I have a few thoughts about it. I think my biggest thing, number one, is I love that they tried something new. I haven't seen a format like that. I absolutely love that. Obviously, like I'm sure that execution has some room for improvement. People understanding the format has some room for improvement, but I think I want more comp runners to try new things. It's citizens comps. We don't all have to have the same rule set. I want consistency. I want people to understand what's going on. I want fair competition. But I like that something new happened. I don't know I've got too many thoughts. I like the idea that the podium can change from qualifiers to finals. I don't know if I like how it changed this time, but if you look at World Cups, if you look at like other sports, things change from qualies to semis to finals. Like
Mhm.
in a bouldering World Cup, the people who like let's say like of the 15 20 people that make it to semis,
Mhm.
like the 50 people that were in qualifiers, like 40 of those people have like a realistic shot of
Right.
making it into semis, and it's who showed up at their best that day, who got favored by the set in qualies, right? And then
Yeah.
from those 20 in semis, literally anybody could make finals, and
Right.
like it is day by day. There's no, with the exception of Yanya, there's no like reigning champ who is like untouched.
Right.
Like if I'm gonna date myself a little bit, but Daniel Woods and Alex Puccio were like 9-time U.S. national champs back
Yep.
when it was ABS, the American Bouldering Series. But like they were untouchable in those years because they were just the strongest,
Right.
and that's really all that was tested then.
Mhm.
And now everybody else is so good, and the style is so like based on if you make a mistake, it really hurts you.
Right.
That like there's no there's no guarantees of who will make the podium, and I like the idea of that happening on the local scale, because I think for a long time it's like, you know, a battle kind of for second when and there's like the pro that shows up, you know. And I honestly, like, I can't remember the last time Adam didn't win. Like,
Oh, he didn't. He placed second at CRG's comp.
right, for CRG Chelsea.
The Chelsea comp. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the last time I saw him in second. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he's always
I
qualified
mean,
first. He walks in, qualifies in an hour, and comes back, and then he takes first.
and yeah. So like second, you know, like what the so it's like like I don't know if it's the best representation of like who the best climber that day was.
Right.
It's like who didn't make a mistake on the first climb. And like, look, I also like the idea that Adam Shahar, like, who is like
The national
a
champion.
chill guy, like national champ, chill guy, never freaks out. Like, I think he can, like, just like any other climber, have his moments where he gets like frustrated. But the idea that like he felt that pressure, one, I think is cool about that format, and two, probably good for him as a climber to like feel some pressure again. You know, I'm sure that he feels pressure all the time. I, you know, forget, but like,
it was a different type of pressure, and it was, no, I mean, I appreciated the effort they put into that. Definitely one of the things that I think could be done a little bit different was, as much as it was good, they had to kind of do that, was that they actually reset the wall for between the female and males. They just made, you know, tweaks to it. So, and actually the feedback I got from a lot of people was like, why, like, that took a long time. I think it was over 30 minutes or so. And so a lot of people were just like, you know, drumming their nails, and they're sending me text like, is it over? What's going on? I was like, you know, and so I mean, we did have on the live stream that, you know, they were resetting the wall for the men's, but yeah, I think that kind of threw people off, and I think, you know, if we're going to do something like that, not that it doesn't need to be done, offer something in between, for either the crowd
halftime show
or whatever, right? But like they're like trying something new, right? Totally trying something new, and the climbs were great. I mean, they were fantastic climbs. The format was, I think, was good as well. And it would be, and you know, like I said before, we didn't see people on the podium that normally wouldn't be on the, like, Matt is, I've seen him on a podium several times. The other guy, I forgot what his name was. I've never seen him before, so he came from somewhere else. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's good to see things getting mixed up, and I think Chris is going to continue to mix things up. I think he has such a crazy passion for the sport that, you know, he doesn't want it to just be it. You know, he wants to constantly keep pushing things, and he will constantly keep pushing things. And you know, big hats off to him for that, and his team and his crew for just really throwing caution to the wind and going for it. So that was really cool.
100%. Yeah, man. It like I really thought it was incredibly well run. I thought the setting was A1. I like that they tried something new. And when you try something new, like there's always room for improvement, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I would much rather like, hey, that was cool. Here's things that we can work on, rather than like, oh man, they phoned it in. The setting was subpar, whatever.
Right.
You know, clearly they made leaps and bounds of improvement over their first comp.
Mhm.
And yeah, you know, same deal. Like, thank you to the setting team. Thank you to the organizers. Everything was well run. Call me if you're going to bump me earlier next year. But
You guys
other
just
than
can't
that,
funny. They can't bump you out your category. It's like, I'm old. Leave me alone.
they're not posting the results because they know that I'm going to complain. But
It's funny because it's interesting because I mean, because I've been injured, I haven't even been looking for results. I don't like, I'm just having, like, for me, I'm having fun at this point. I think once we get into February, because now the comp season is starting so late, I'm going to be at a place where I can perform my best, you know, actually perform confidently on the wall. I was just glad that I had no pain the next morning. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's huge.
yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, especially after doing 20 boulders instead of 10. Yeah. Where are you going to be next? Are you going to, is Callow Hill next?
Yes. So, yep, Callow Hill's next, live streaming that, and then followed by, we're actually going to do the entire movement series. I'm calling it the Movement Northeast series because I don't know what it's called.
I think that is the best name for it.
Right, Movement Northeast, and then also all the finishing out Dark Horse as well. So I'm really excited about that, and we'll see what else. We got a couple other live streams on the docket. So if you guys haven't seen the GOAT live stream, definitely check that out, as well as all the other live streams that are coming down the pike as well.
Yeah. If you want to hear me actually get on my soapbox about comp categories, I just posted a video on my YouTube channel. It's called like to talk about climbing competitions, or whatever clickbait title. But you can find me under Tyler Gadigan, or you can find me at Bagel Boys Climbing.
You can find the link in the description.
Oh man, I made it in the description.
Description.
I know. But yeah, I will see you at Callow Hill.
Yeah,
I'm tripping down with a big Valhalla squad. So
awesome.
Looking forward to it. Maybe hopefully we'll do another recap after that one as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it at Callow Hill. We'll do that live on scene.
Ooh, that would be fun. Yeah, like after the round or whatever. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. All right, cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right, man. Enjoy your day.
You too. Take care. We catch you later.